Our knowledge series on corporate tax in UAE. The video covers following important matters: UAE resident and non-resident person, residence of juridical and natural person, taxation of UAE resident juridical and natural persons, taxation of non-residents, introduction to permanent establishments. Basis of taxation. Introduction. In this video, we have elaborated the basis of taxation for persons within the scope of corporate tax. Whether, and to what extent, a person's business income will be taxable under the UAE corporate tax regime depends on a person's residence, in or out of the UAE. Under Article 11.2 of the Corporate Tax Law, a taxable person may be either resident or non-resident. Definition of a UAE resident person. As per Article 11.3 of the Corporate Tax Law, a resident person is any of the following: companies incorporated in the UAE, companies incorporated outside the UAE, but effectively managed and controlled in the UAE. Where effective management and control is exercised depends on the facts of any case. Key consideration in determining this is the place where key management and commercial decisions are made. A natural person who conducts a commercial activity or business in the UAE. Any other person as determined by cabinet decision. UAE residence is a connecting factor between a business and a person with business activities in the UAE. Definition of a UAE non-resident person. As per Article 11.4 of the Corporate Tax Law, a non-resident person is a person who is not considered to be resident under Article 11.3 and meets any one of the following: has a permanent establishment in the UAE, derives state-sourced income, has a nexus in the UAE as specified by Cabinet decision. Under Article 2.1 of Cabinet Decision No. 56 of 2023 on determination of a non-resident person's nexus in the state, a non-resident juridical person will have a nexus in the UAE if it earns income from immovable property in the UAE. Determining the residence of juridical persons. As per Article 3 of Cabinet Decision No. 85 of 2022 on determination of tax residency, a juridical person shall be considered tax resident in the UAE if either it was incorporated, formed or recognized in accordance with the legislation in force in the UAE, excluding a branch that is registered by a foreign juridical person in the UAE. It is considered tax resident in accordance with the tax law in force in the UAE. Determining the residence of natural persons. As per Article 4 of Cabinet Decision No. 85 of 2022 on determination of tax residency, a natural person shall be considered a tax resident in the state where any one of the following conditions is met: if his usual or primary place of residence and the center of his financial and personal interests are in the UAE, or he meets the conditions and criteria determined by a decision from the minister. If he has been physically present in the UAE for a period of 183 days or more, within the relevant 12 consecutive months. If he has been physically present in the UAE for a period of 90 days or more, within the relevant 12 consecutive months, and he is a UAE national, holds a valid residence permit in the UAE or holds the nationality of any member state of the Gulf Cooperation Council, and meets either of the following: he carries on an employment or business in the UAE. He has a permanent place of residence in the UAE. Usual or primary place of residence. As per Article 2.1 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, a natural person's usual or primary place of residence is in the UAE if the UAE is the jurisdiction where the natural person habitually or normally resides. As per Article 2.2 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, the place of habitual or normal residence is where he spends most of his time when compared to any other jurisdiction as part of his settled routine in a way that is more than transient, that is short-term. Center of financial and personal interests. Under Article 2.3 of the Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, a natural person's center of financial and personal interests is in the UAE, if the UAE is the jurisdiction where the natural person's personal and economic interests are the closest or of the greatest significance to the natural person. As per Article 2.4 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, in determining whether the UAE is a natural person's center of financial and personal interest, you should consider the location of that person's place of business, occupation, family and social relations, place from which the property of the natural person is administered, cultural or other activities, any other relevant facts and circumstances. Calculation of time periods. As per Article 3.1 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, day means calendar day and month means calendar month. Under Article 3.2 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, when counting days on which a person is physically present in a country, both full days and parts of a day are included. Article 3.3 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023 mentions the days do not need to be consecutive to determine if the 183 days or 90 days period in 12 consecutive months is met. Under Article 4.1 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, any day that the natural person's presence in the UAE was due to exceptional circumstances may be disregarded by the authority. As per Article 4.2 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, an exceptional circumstance can arise which is an event or situation beyond the natural person's control, occurring while he is already in the UAE, which he could not reasonably have predicted or prevented, and which prevents him from leaving the UAE as originally planned. For example, lockdowns due to a global pandemic. Employment. As per Article 6 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, a natural person shall be considered as carrying on employment in the UAE if employment contract. If the natural person is party to a contract with an employer, which is incorporated or otherwise formed or recognized in the UAE, under which the natural person undertakes to offer a service to the employer under their administration or supervision for a promised remuneration paid by the employer in the UAE. Nature of relationship. If the natural person is in a continuing relationship where all or substantially all of the income for their labor is derived from one party, whereby the income received constitutes remuneration for the labor performed in the UAE. Permanent place of residence. Under Article 5.1 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, a permanent place of residence is a furnished house, apartment, room or any other form of dwelling, mode continuously available to the natural person. As per Article 5.2 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023, the permanent place of residence is available to the natural person where the natural person has a continuous right of occupation on a regular basis with some degree of permanency and stability, and not just occasionally or for the purposes of a stay of a short duration. Article 5.3 of Ministerial Decision No. 27 of 2023 mentions, a permanent place of residence does not need to be owned by the natural person but can be rented or otherwise occupied by him as a dwelling. International considerations. As per Article 5 of Cabinet Decision No. 85 of 2022 on determination of tax residency, a juridical person who is resident under Article 3 or a natural person who is resident under Article 4 of Cabinet Decision No. 85 of 2022 can apply to FTA for a certificate of tax residence. FTA will issue a tax residency certificate if the person makes a valid application and meets the tests of residence. As per Article 6 of Cabinet Decision No. 85 of 2022 on determination of tax residency, international agreements such as double tax treaties may set out tests for determining residence and for solving dual residence situations. The rules provided for under international agreements will generally prevail over the rules under the UAE tax law for the purposes of that international agreement. Taxation of natural persons. Under Article 11.6 of the Corporate Tax Law, the Cabinet shall, upon a suggestion of the Minister and in coordination with the relevant competent authorities, issue a decision specifying the categories of business or business activity conducted by a resident or non-resident natural person that are subject to corporate tax. As per Article 2.1 of Cabinet Decision No. 49 of 2023 on specifying the categories of businesses or business activities conducted by a resident or non-resident natural person that are subject to corporate tax. Natural persons are only liable to corporate tax if they have total business turnover realized in a Gregorian calendar year in excess of AED 1 million. As per Article 2.2 of Cabinet Decision No. 49 of 2023, this AED 1 million annual turnover threshold excludes any employment income, that is salaries, real estate investment income and personal investment income received by the natural person. As per Article 2.3 of Cabinet Decision No. 49 of 2023, natural persons are not required to register for corporate tax purposes where they have realized a total business turnover not exceeding AED 1 million in a Gregorian calendar year. Taxation of UAE resident juridical persons. According to Article 12.1 of the Corporate Tax Law, a UAE resident juridical person will, in principle, be liable to corporate tax on its worldwide income. Taxation of UAE resident natural persons. According to the Article 12.2 of the Corporate Tax Law, the taxable income of a resident natural person is the business income derived from the UAE or outside the UAE insofar as it relates to the business or business activity conducted by the natural person in the UAE. Therefore, business income derived by a natural person, whether it arises in the UAE or elsewhere, will be considered for assessing whether the AED 1 million threshold is met. Taxation of non-residents. Under the Article 12.3 of the Corporate Tax Law, non-resident persons are liable to corporate tax if they have taxable income from a permanent establishment in the UAE. Article 1 of the Corporate Tax Law defines a permanent establishment as a place of business or other form of presence in the UAE of a non-resident person. As per Article 11.6 of the Corporate Tax Law and Article 2.1 of Cabinet Decision No. 49 of 2023, where the non-resident person is a natural person, they will be subject to tax only if they have a permanent establishment in the UAE and the total business turnover realized exceeds AED 1 million in a Gregorian calendar year. UAE-sourced income that is not attributable to a permanent establishment of a non-resident person in the UAE. Other business income that is attributable to its nexus in the UAE as specified by a cabinet decision. Nexus is discussed later in this video. UAE-sourced income. Source, that is, where income originates from, is another connecting factor between a person and the state. According to Article 13.1 of the Corporate Tax Law, income will typically be regarded as having a UAE source if the income is derived from a UAE resident person, the payment is derived from a non-resident person, and the income received has been paid or accrued in connection with and attributable to a permanent establishment in the UAE of that non-resident person in the UAE, or the income is derived from activities performed in the UAE, assets located or capital invested in the UAE, rights used for economic purposes in the UAE, or services performed or benefited from in the UAE. Under the Article 13.2 of the Corporate Tax Law, UAE-sourced income specifically includes, but is not limited to, income from the sale of goods in the UAE, income from the provision of services that are rendered in the UAE or that are utilized or benefited from in the UAE, income from a contract insofar as it has been wholly or partly performed or benefited from in the UAE, income from movable or immovable property located in the UAE, income from the disposal of shares or capital of a resident person, income from the use or right to use in the UAE or the grant of permission to use in the UAE, any intellectual or intangible property, interest that meets any of the following conditions. The loan is secured by movable or immovable property located in the UAE. The borrower is a resident person, or the borrower is a government entity. insurance or reinsurance premiums in any of the following instances. The insured asset is located in the UAE. The insured person is a resident person, or the insured activity is conducted in the UAE. Nexus and connecting factors. Meaning of nexus for international tax purposes. A connecting factor links a person to a territory for tax purposes. The territory will have a nexus, that is a right, to tax that person when there is sufficient connection. The person will be required to register, file a return or make some form of declaration. This can require the application of substance over form. Substance over form means ascertaining the reality of a transaction or situation rather than relying on what the legal form, that is documentation or paperwork, states the transaction or situation is. For instance, the fact that an employment contract states that it is located outside UAE does not necessarily make it so. Disregarding the legal form, that is the employment contract, and instead examining the reality of the employment relationship will clarify where the employment is carried on. Meaning of nexus for corporate tax purposes. As per Article 2.1 of Cabinet Decision No. 56 of 2023, on determination of a non-resident person's nexus in the state, any non-resident juridical person shall have a nexus in the UAE if it earns income from any immovable property in the UAE. Therefore, income that is earned from immovable property in the UAE by a natural person outside of the UAE shall not create a nexus. Under the Article 1 of Cabinet Decision No. 56 of 2023, immovable property means any of the following. Any area of land over which rights or interests or services can be created. Any building structure or engineering work attached to the land permanently or attached to the seabed. Any fixture or equipment which makes up a permanent part of the land or is permanently attached to the building, structure or engineering work or attached to the seabed. As per Article 4 of Cabinet Decision No. 56 of 2023, a non-resident person that has a nexus in the UAE shall be required to register with the FTA. As per Article 2.2 of Cabinet Decision No. 56 of 2023, the taxable income attributable to immovable property in the UAE includes income derived from any rights attached to the property, that is rights in rem, sole, disposal, assignment, direct use, letting including subletting, and any other form of exploitation. There is no nexus for the UAE to impose any tax on the non-resident person with no UAE presence, no connecting factors between them and the UAE, and no UAE-sourced income. Such persons are outside the scope of UAE corporate tax. Introduction to permanent establishments. A permanent establishment arises where a non-resident person has a permanent or fixed place of business or other form of presence in the UAE that justifies the direct taxation of the business profits of the non-resident person. A non-resident person that carries on activities through a permanent establishment in the UAE will be subject to corporate tax on the income that is attributable to the permanent establishment in the UAE. A UAE resident person can also have permanent establishments in foreign countries. Income arising from certain activities or transactions that have a connection with the UAE, but that are not carried on through a permanent establishment may also be subject to corporate tax in the form of withholding tax. Currently, the withholding tax rate is set at 0%. This ends our video session. Subscribe to our channel, and click on notification icon to stay tuned to the series of valuable material that will cover all aspects of the UAE corporate tax. Our partner is available for free consultation who is holder of FTA approved UAE corporate tax qualification. His contact details are provided here. Visit finexcel.ae. Navigate to our clients and testimonials webpage to see more clients' review on our services and our major clientele. Contact us for more detail. FinExcel. We create value that matters.